when women have fights talking about being sexist, they properly fall out, won't talk to each other for years, avoid each other like the plague, cut them off, goodbye, gone. But men seem to have this ability to absolutely hate each other and still carry on like their mates. It's kind of strange.
It's called the Labour Party.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was yesterday. Zoran Mamdani, of course, the incoming mayor of New York, went to the White House to meet Donald Trump, as is customary for all new mayors when they are elected in New York. And they both exchanged barbs at each other in the lead up to the mayoral elections. Mamdani called Trump a fascist. The president called him a communist. But then he rocks up to the White House and they're laughing and exchanging praise instead.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
I mean, how good is that? He's asked by the reporters, what do you think about, you called him fascist before, and Trump just says, you can say
unless you're Kevin Rudd.
You agree, that's right. You said bad. You said bad.
You said bad.
He even said that Mamdani wants to make New York great again.
But isn't that classic Trump, though? The Trump offensive? Disarm,
Trump is brilliant. He is a genius.
Very clever.
What he's done is he's actually detached this man from his base. His base in New York now hate Mamdani because he is hanging out with the fascist, right? So he's absolutely dealt him a blow, which I don't think Mamdani was never going to implement his socialist policies, free buses and city-owned grocery stores and capping rents. Those things were never going to work. So he was in a heap of trouble. He's never been an administrator. He's had a short term in the lower house in the New York State Parliament, and that's about it. He's never run anything, done anything. He wasn't going to have a clue. So it was going to be a disaster from day one. But Trump is saying, if it's a disaster, not my fault, I'm being nice to him. We're friends, it's okay. And when Trump turns on the charm, he melts people. You saw it with Bill Maher, the media commentator who hated Trump. Trump had him round to dinner. Maher is now, Trump is all right. He's a good man. He's a decent. He does it all the time. It's a brilliant skill that he has. The other thing is he sent a message to the Democratic Party saying, see who I had in the Oval Office? Wasn't Gavin Newsom, he doesn't matter. Wasn't AOC, she doesn't matter. Wasn't Jasmine Crockett, she doesn't matter. I talked to the bloke who matters. Now, suddenly, this little mayor in New York is the person the Democrats have been told, well, he gets into the Oval, he matters. I think he's put a huge spoke in their wheels and they're going to be confused forever.
And it's quite amusing watching it. Because it's like, people have criticised Trump for a long time, he's too erratic and he's all over the shop and all this sort of stuff. But in that presser, and I watched it live yesterday morning, you get a window into the diplomat that Donald Trump can be. And you watch it and you go, he is the kind of guy that you want to go in and do negotiations with people because he can play the good cop and he can play the bad cop depending on what day it is and what needs to be done. And when he says something, he means it. Whether he's being nice or whether he's being cruel.
Whether he'll mean it tomorrow.
But it's quite something.
Yeah, look, he's the man who got into North Korea. I mean, we can't underestimate him. And I think that he's very smart. He doesn't do anything by accident. But I also think it's important to remember this term that he was elected. He's not a loyalist Republican anymore. He's the one who brought in Elon Musk, who was a Democrat up until 5 minutes ago. He brought in Tulsi Gabbard. He brought in, figures like RFK. And so he has kind of bridged previous Democrats with new age Republicans. And so I don't think he's as loyal to the Republican Party as he once was. So he doesn't care if the lines are blurred because I feel like to a degree he feels like the Republican Party let him down.
I think he is the Republican Party.
Yeah, and so he gets to call the shots of what it means, what it's defined as.
He now owns it and he's going to keep on owning it because he will pick the next president. Right, so it's going to be J.D. Vance who becomes the next president, and that will keep the Trump.
Zoran Mamdani now.
I said that after he got elected because his speech looked like it was a presidential speech, but of course he wasn't born in the US, so he can't actually run.
Thank goodness.
But Louise, it was quite something to watch. It was just so
very
funny.
Impressive, sort of very.
It was hilarious, actually.
It was funny, but also Trump is showing voters that if the job needs to be done, he'll with whoever needs to do the job. And also, you know, he might support this new mayor, but if it all goes to hell in a handcart, that's it.
Trump also got businesses in New York.
That's
it's probably in his interest.
But the real thing, I think what's really going on is that obviously the City of New York gets a whole bunch of federal funding that Trump could turn off if he chooses to. Now, the problem is, if he turns off the funding, Mamdani gets to say, well, all my schemes would have worked, to have free buses, free nationalised grocery stores. I mean, I still can't get my head around it. But it's all Donald Trump's fault. And so what Donald Trump has done very cleverly is say, no, of course, you go for it. You put your little scheme into practice. We'll give you all the federal funding. And that way he can't be blamed when Mamdani's schemes all go tits up. And also it also demonstrates to, you know, the world that this sort of stuff doesn't work.
Yes, and so hopefully that is something we'll be able to take away from it.